course, in this time in history in Northern Ireland, there's a great conflict between the Irish Republic and Great Britain. We have with us this afternoon a young man named Patrick O'Shaughnessy, who is the Public Relations Officer for the Irish Republican Army. Is that correct, Pat?
That's right. I'm a PR for the I.R.A.
What mainly is your job, Pat?
Well, mainly, you see, what we're trying to do here is to free the Republic of Ireland from Great Britain.
Right.
And, of course, my job is to tell people in Ireland how to go about it.
I
in
see.
their daily life, you see, in their conversation and so on.
Well, I guess you really have your hands full at the moment, don't you? There is quite a conflict in Northern Ireland at the moment, isn't there, Pat?
Oh, yes, and it goes back a long ways. Yes, I've got my hands full. There's no question that it goes back. It draws a parallel, as I see it, and my whole idea of public relations is based on the parallel it draws between America and the colonies and leaving Great Britain.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Revolutionary War, I believe you call it.
You feel like that same thing is occurring now in Ireland, Northern Ireland?
Sure. For example, the Boston Tea Party. There's a fine example.
The Boston Tea Party?
The Boston Tea Party. And the great Atlantic and Pacific ship, you know. Was that a tea party?
Well, Pat, this is only the 20th century. I mean, there are certain things that are difficult to change. You must realize that as, trying to gain independence. It's not an overnight thing. I mean, you just don't declare your independence and...
Well, no, but I wouldn't call, we've been trying for since the 4th century. I wouldn't call that overnight. 1,600 years. I mean, even if you're an Alaskan, that's a long night.
Come on, Pat. Come on.
Well, no, I don't think I'm exaggerating. I mean, it's been a long time.
Give us an idea of what it's like in Northern Ireland now with the conflict going on.
Well, it's very difficult. You see, there's no mass transportation anymore. You can't just take a bus or drive your car because your car's always being inspected. And my car needs inspection, actually, a lot. But there it is. And if you get a good car to travel with, it gets bombed. Of course, sometimes, like myself, you buy a bomb. And I've bought several. From the Smiling Irishman. You're liable to be in trouble there. The transportation is bad. And then you never know when you go into a restaurant, for example.
What about the nightlife in Ireland?
It's kind of dark. Because everybody's afraid of everybody, Then you don't see many lights turned on anymore in Ireland. And you're afraid to go. You go to a nightclub and you order a little food and it might explode on you.
I guess that would be a problem when you get a prime ribs of beef and it explodes.
That's right. It's a thorny problem. There's no question of that. But in the morning, for example, if your cereal pops, it's all right. But I'm getting a little jumpy with that.
What can you see advances that the Irish Republic are making?
Oh, sure. Just the other night, I made it all the way home without being shot at.
I suppose that would be somewhat airy.
Well, it is, It lets a lot of air in. I'm a fella that don't like to be shot at, particular. And it's a little dangerous going out at night. I don't mind telling you that. It's a little dangerous going out during the day, as a matter of fact.
Well, Pat, not to give away any of the secrets, perhaps, of the Irish Republican Army, what type of operations does the Irish Republic have in store for Great Britain and the British troops?
Well, if you promise not to tell anybody this.
I wouldn't tell a soul, Pat.
That's between us. The British stop for tea.
For tea? Oh, tea. The noonday tea type thing.
Noonday tea type, yes. And they stop every day about noon, as you say. And during that period of time, it is our intention in the I.R.A. to move in and regain all the area we've lost when the British weren't drinking tea. Now, the British drink so much tea, we might win the war during a tea break. Tea for two, and I'm for you, you dirty limey. No, that's the...
Well, we've been talking about the Northern Ireland and the conflict there. I guess it's sort of like a state of war existing in that area, right, Pat?
Well, if it ain't a state of war, we're sure missing a good chance. Because we're shooting at each other.
Well, what is it like? What do you miss between a state of war and a state of peacetime? What are the things that you miss now that you're in a war?
Well, I lived very plush before the war. I'm not an ordinary person, you can understand that. I'm an educated man, and I live very fancy. And mostly, I suppose, I missed my servants.
Your servants?
Yeah, British. I had a lot of limeys around.
Well, I imagine with the war in Northern Ireland, it's sort of bad on the love life, wouldn't it? I mean, ducking those bullets and...
Oh, it's a terrible thing to romance. It deals a terrible blow to romance, you see. If I take out a young girl,
Right.
how am I to know whether she's a true Irish lass or whether she's working for the British?
Yeah, you're right.
A difficult problem. So what I do, I have my own method of finding this out. What I do is I take her out and we stop and have a bite to eat. Maybe we take in a film or something,
Right,
you see,
right.
a cinema. We leave the cinema and we stop and park for a while and talk.
Right.
And the way I figure is, if that girl pays any attention to me, she's got to be working for the other side.
Patrick, some people have said that the conflict in Northern Ireland is basically of a religious nature.
Well,
is it true? Is it a religious war?
Well, it is and it's not, you see. But that's a part of it. There's no question about it being a part of it. For example, it's very difficult now to go to church.
To go to church?
Yes, because you see, they're guarding the churches. They figure we're meeting there.
The British are...
The British are guarding the churches. For example, they inspect your Bible.
Your Bible?
Yeah, they look through the Bible. They're afraid there are a few passages they might get a bang out of.
Well, what does the average person in Northern Ireland feel about the British troops?
They think of them as tourists.
Tourists?
Right. I mean, they're just here for a temporary time, you see. They're making their tour, and that's it. But we're taking advantage of the tourist thing. As a matter of fact, the Irish are very opportunistic. We got some good prices on cameras.
Cameras?
You can't shoot a camera and a gun at the same time.
I suppose not, Pat.
That's why they shoot as bad as they do.
What cities are involved in the conflict, Pat?
Oh, quite a number, but I'd say the hottest part of the war right now is in Londonderry.
Londonderry?
Yes. And we Irish are thinking of using as one method to overcome the British, changing the name of Londonderry, because a very British name, you know.
It does have a British ring to it.
Yeah, we want to change it to something else.
What did you have in mind?
Cogan's Bluff.
Patrick, what would you do if Northern Ireland gained independence? Would you... What would be the first thing you'd do?
Oh, I'd move out of the country.
Move out of the country?
Oh, sure.
After you gained independence for it? Spent 20, 30 years working?
Yeah, I couldn't stand having another government over me. I've had enough trouble with this one.